We got the new Knipex, highly requested by Joshua Wilson. He's been hinting at these for quite some time now. And we're going to figure out what's so special about them. They are the 8721 250s, the 10-inch. And yeah, Cobra quick set pump pliers. I think the biggest difference with these, actually, you know what? Do they feel different? Something felt different. Yes, they do. I know my pliers, guys. Look, there's a difference here, more pronounced, longer length here. As soon as I grabbed them, I knew. Look at the difference in the metal exposed on the handles. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. But you can see on both sides here. I knew as soon as I grabbed them, they were just slightly different. These are both 10-inch. And I don't know, man. They feel different. Why do they feel different? They just feel different. Let's look at the top of them. What's up, Shroosh? Let me get the, let's get all the messages going here. So, I've got a really high-powered light, and it tends to make the video look just a little bit cloudy. But, yeah, we're still working on it. I've got a very high-powered light up here. I need to move it around. She called you Speedy Gonzalez. First. So, man, as soon as I grabbed them, I knew they were different. I wonder what else is different. Yep, you can see it. These are supposed to be the 10-inch. They got more of an opening right here in the gap. You can see the difference there. And the jaw is different slightly. It's more of an open diamond. We could trace this out on paper to show you if we needed to, but you can just take my word for it. You can see, you can just see it. I can see it. I can tell. These are all the way closed. These are, okay, hang on. These weren't quite, wait. Okay, these like to slide around. So the difference with these is that once you push this button down, you can slide them up without having to use your thumb. Okay. If that's the only difference, I don't like them. Do we like these or not? I have trust issues, man, with things that do things automatically. Especially when they only do it sometimes. If we go to the bottom, do they slide? Okay, so if they're all the way open, that's when they slide. Once you've got your size selected, they do not slide again. Auto adjusting, yeah, but they're kind of gimmicky, man. They're kind of weird. Once we get them set, you can see on the back that they're set. This thing's indented back here. And you can see where they don't really want to slide or move, right? But if I push this in just slightly, they still don't want to move. And they still don't want to move. Is there like an in-between setting that I don't know about? I have to go back and watch the replay now. I don't know. How's the audio, guys? Okay, if it's down. Okay, I think I figured it out. We didn't figure anything out. Man, why is Knipex always making like solutions to problems we didn't have? So one thing that I found out 100% is that if we slide this all the way down, if we squeeze this, I think it'll lock. No? All the way down definitely auto grabs. There's no doubt about that. I've never had the issue where I need this setting, man. I've gotten so used to using my Knipex. You can do it with one hand. You can even get it exactly where you want with one hand. So what I've done, my buddy dropped off some EMT like a month ago that they picked up with a forklift and just gouged it, jacked it all up. So he dropped some off over here. So I've got some EMT on the ground here. Right there. Just all jacked up. So I think we will maybe get some connectors out and some couplings and just see how they feel. They feel weird though. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe the handle feels different. Is it more pronounced here? Is that a bump there? You guys see a hard edge right there? Do we have that here? Dude, I will skin the grip off of these to find out. What have they done to my pliers, man? These things were perfect. We're not going to skin these, don't worry. I'm just saying. It's worn down the old ones. No, these aren't that old. Remember, guys, I had to throw away all my tools and restart my whole tool collection. So they're not old. I've got Knipex, or I had Knipex from 2008 when I first bought my first pair. But those are long gone, dude. I sold those to a buddy. So these are the 87-21250s. These are 87-10-250s. So the 21250s have the red button. And I don't know, man. It's kind of weird because it has that half setting. You drop it down here. And every once in a while, it doesn't catch. Right? You can see that? Like, see how it's like in limbo right now? And we can slide this up. Nope, it locked. So they definitely slide. Okay, I think I figured it out. If we keep them open the whole time, like this, and we maintain pressure here, we can kind of slide them up when we want to. But once you lock them, like they're locked. So I think what you're seeing on the commercials is them being here like this and saying, "They're 500 pipe size." I think is what they're doing. They're like, yeah. Because everything else is just too much of a coincidence. Because as soon as I do this, it's going to lock where I want it. And then it's stuck. So if you never straighten them out, they won't click in. That's what it is. If we don't straighten them out, this piece stays out. And we can slide. But even then, you can see where it locked in there. Kind of gimmicky. And the grip is different. I don't think it's bad. It's just different. And when you're used to grabbing something since 2008, you know as soon as you grab the different size, it just feels different. Nothing wrong with the grip. Are they heavier? So if I was to set these, I just use my chest for all these years. And if I was to set these, you could bump them down and then slide them up if you wanted to, I guess. If you got used to them, I suppose they're cool. But they are different. They definitely changed a couple of things. I wonder why. Even here, look, see how it's more open? See, that's more pronounced and open. And you look over here, and this has definitely got more closure to it. If we look at the profile, you can see where this bump out is way more pronounced. Right? You can actually see daylight through it. See right there? See that daylight? And when I look here, it's not seeable. It's flatter. When we look at the button, this is my least favorite thing about the Milwaukees. Was the bump out here. And it looks to be about the same. This looks like it's been tacked on. You guys think that's going to last? I don't know if you guys can see in there. It looks like a tack weld on there. On the back side too. And there's something in there. If we look here, it's also got a gap back there. We look at the front. Looks pretty similar. You can definitely see where the grips are different. If you line the grips up to each other, you can see the difference in the height. But yet the grips are the same. These are both fully open right now. I can't open these anymore. They open just as much as each other. So, yeah, close enough to not really matter. They're just weird, man. They're just weird. I don't know why it's different. Let's weigh them. They've got a different profile on these too. These have a thinner ground section here. Trying to get you guys some light so you can see. You can see right there that indentation. And you can see this is less pronounced and more wide. So it's hard to say, you know. I've beat on these, especially the 12-inch ones in the bag somewhere. Especially the 12-inch ones, like a hammer. Pried on them, beat the hell out of things, adjusted strut straps for years. Just did anything imaginable you can do to Knipex Cobras. Abused isn't even a good word for it, man. Just completely neglected. And they lasted me and lasted me and lasted me. Had zero issues, cut chunks out with my bandsaw, cutting all thread towards the saw like an idiot, like you're not supposed to do. Just did all kinds of things. I've never had this spring on me fail. I've never had this button on me fail. I've never had any teeth broken. I've never lost any traction here. The grips they're so smart how they grab the top and then they come back down. So even if you wear down the grips here, you still wind up with traction up here to where they can't just easily fall off. For me, I don't think I recommend these just because they are slightly different and they feel different. They're just different. If you're used to regular Cobras, you don't need this. I think I got them for like $37. Can we make them touch? Definitely got a little bit of flex in there. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Can we make them touch? No. I can't get enough force on there. You can see where you can get them pretty. But they're just good steel, man. This stuff is built to last. Can we make these touch? They feel equal as far as how much pressure you can really put on them. I'm going to get a connector out and see what they feel like. What's going on? We got a bunch of people in the chat. The handles are longer to help when the jaw. Yeah. Had a stroke reading that, but I think I know what you're talking about. How much have both of these tools been used? Could it be that one has more wear and tear? No. As unpopular it is to say, these are both brand new and have not been used enough. All of my tools I had to throw away. So if you're new here, we had a situation at the house where I had to literally throw away everything I've ever owned and restart my life all over again due to mold. So these are very new. These have seen a little bit more wear, but it's not because of that. You can just look at the grip and you can see the difference in the height. Like if I line these up right next to each other, these are both fully closed. You can see where the height is just different, even though they're completely lined up with each other. You can see where they're just different, and they're both fully closed. So it's because of this quick grip thing that the teeth and everything just had to change slightly. I gotta say, I'm not a fan. When I first felt this, I knew something was off as soon as I grabbed them. And it's lacking metal right here where I'm used to grabbing. Where the original Cobras have a higher profile here. You can see that now when I point it out. So if you're used to grabbing channel locks, and everyone is right here, you're gonna notice immediately that they are just different. Probably because you're not grabbing the grip. And here your finger's halfway on the grip and halfway off the grip. I noticed it as soon as I grabbed them. And you can see right there where you're not on the grip here versus there. This is Vanadin K14. This is Vanadin L. L less than 3. LV3, L something. It's Vanadin. Check it out. And then this is different yet. This is a K14. Interesting. I'm not a fan of how they're changed. They're just slightly different. I'm gonna get a connector. I just came back from Home Depot. Let me grab something. Or a couple of things. I've got a lot of stuff on this desk. All right, what's the chat say? Yeah, the Milwaukee ones, definitely, and not the best, but the price not bad. I can promise you, I promise you the Milwaukee ones are terrible compared to these. That's not even an opinion, man. They are terrible. The Milwaukee ones, the grip is more like a nut than it is a diamond here, and the diamond kind of goes at an angle. It's the perfect shape. The Milwaukee ones, this thing sticks off half a mile out. I really don't like these now. This sticks out further than the original. And that is a big deal, I promise you. Just get a piece of cardboard to gauge it. Just going to stab it up against there. That's the benchmark for that one. You can't really see it. Let me do another one over here. That hard line right there. You can kind of see it. I can see it. If I color it in, you'll be able to see it. Maybe you can't. Kind of see where it's white. This is going to be way higher. It's not that much higher. I'm trying to find something to gauge this with. Oh, perfect. We can scratch the paint off this saw blade, I think. We'll go flat here. There we go. So we're sticking that high off right there. And these are the original ones. And we're going to be below it, watch. You can see just how much we are below it actually, now that we did that. So you're talking 1/8 of an inch difference, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you use these as a hammer, guys, every little bit matters on these. That's why I'm being so damn critical for this, because this is the stuff that I'd want to know if I was looking for somebody that was going to really do a good job and let me know exactly what this tool looks like in your hands, is going to feel like in your hands, and how it's going to perform differently. This is what you guys need to know. Also, it's fun to note that the paint actually fell off here. So it's just red as a, it's just painted, which I'm not trying to like knock everything about this, but I would have not expected to scratch the paint off so easily. That's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. Let's get a connector. So that is 3/4, but those are set screw. These are 1/2 inch. Let me see if I can find my 3/4 connectors here. Here's a 3/4 connector. All right, so if we want to, can we slide up? I mean, I don't see the difference, because if you're working with one hand anyway, you're just going to push this button anyway and get the size you want. And it's not like we're not still going to use our chest to get the adjustment once we're done. So I'm still going to use my chest to open this back up. Hang on. Having trouble finding the size. Okay. Okay, so we found the perfect size there. That's going to be the perfect size right there. And then these. One more. One more. Yeah. I mean, they still feel fine. They don't feel as good as these. What I'm going to do, I'm going to tighten this so tight that we're going to break the coupling, is my hope. And see if we can just rip the threads out. Because that's how tight you can get this stuff. Just competently, just wrenching on it. You can get this stuff so tight that it just gets really stupid. Okay. Here we go. I'm trying to think, do I want to put this on pipe or not? Yeah. Okay. Now we're ready to really wrench on it. You ready? Wasn't paying attention to what I was doing earlier. Hang on. If you understood how tight this was, you would know why I'm a little bit concerned. Yeah, there's, I mean, it's this tight, man. This is crazy. Nothing in the world would ever need to be this tight. Let me see if we can break it. We can just shear the threads. I think we can. Let me give you guys a better view right now. Also, I'm being really careful because if I slip, man, I could, like, with how hard I'm pushing, I'm paying attention which direction my fingernails are facing. Like, I'm pushing so hard that if I slipped, I would probably need stitches. I don't know if you guys understand that. So that's why we're being a little bit careful here. I don't know if I can get any tighter. We're kind of turning it into an oval at this point. Oh, yeah, there we go. Here we go. Here comes a good one. We are completely bottomed out to where the connector, basically this part of the connector has met the outer ring. We may not be able to get this any tighter without just shearing it. I don't know if that's doable. If there was pliers to do it, this would be them. No. I don't think it's going to do it. You can pick all your weight up on one of these on a round bar without it slipping. Fun fact. I'm going to put it in the back of the jaws of the channel locks now to see how that grabs. So far, these things grab just fine. So if you're wondering, do they grab just as good? Answer is yeah, they grab fine. There's no compromise of the grip as far as the new ones go, which is really why we're doing this. I think I'm going to stop. I'm starting to like lose skin on my hand here. But this is what we wanted to know. So that's good enough. These don't slip. Oh, we got another bite. Let's see. No. So we've got the ring of the connector or the coupling met with the body of the coupling. You can't get that any tighter. Physically impossible without making this overlap that. So just to clear this portion. And look at the precision, man. We were brutal on this thing. And the other side is completely still intact. Screws right on. So yeah, that's good, man. That's why you buy these. The absolute best that you can buy for Cobras. If you're on the fence as an electrician, do these make that much of a difference? They absolutely do. You can do some really stupid things with these. Probably a lot of my use would be whenever I was doing industrial, and we had minis, and everything that was spec'd at that industrial job was nylon lock rings and nylon lock nuts, like built into the nuts. So you had to put a tool on every bolt out there, whether it was all thread, whether it was slick rod, whatever it was, everything was spec'd nylon so they could pressure wash it. And probably 99% of the time, I just grabbed my Knipex, held that nut, and zipped the bolt on. And yeah, man, these things are like an extension of your hand. You can bang on caddies with them. They work like hammers. You can adjust strut straps once they're fully tight. You can beating screwdrivers. There's so many options with these. Just beating the piss out of these for 10 years straight, and they just last. At least these ones do. I don't know about these. I'm not a fan of the way this thing sticks out this far. I don't really like the handle where there's less metal here. And I think that's my only gripe. I think everything else is pretty much the same. If I was to look at the profile, I think that they kept the same shape. Basically, yeah, they still have the same shape. So that's a plus. But I do prefer the originals where there's more metal up here and the grip is lower versus it being up here, for sure. 100% on that. All right, so then we got the Flex 2.0. I'm going to check the chat. We've been talking about pliers for 30 minutes, but that's okay. They both do the same job for the same price. That's what Kleins are for. A freak? Okay. Let me see. Nice tools are nice. I have lots of them, but people want to hit you to borrow them. I'm always prepared. Some are not. Yeah, man. I don't lend anything unless I'm working with somebody. So if you want to borrow my stuff, we're working together. We might be on a scissor lift. You're banging on a strap while I'm bending conduit, and we're running 500 feet of EMT linear that day, free, not on a rack. You know, we can work together, but for the most part, I'm not sharing anything. We got the 2.0 Flex here. I don't know if you guys have seen this. For comparison, we can hold up a 3.0 stack lithium. Not stack lithium, just red lithium high output from Milwaukee. And then we can bring the Flex up right next to it. And you can see just how small the Flex is. It's actually pretty impressive how small they got this thing. This is end to end here. See, they're sitting at the same height. And yeah, guys, this thing is insane. It gives, I'm not going to say it gives equal amount of power because we haven't really put a whole bunch of torque on this battery and seen like exactly what it can do. But I can tell you right now, man, when you can drive a 6-inch screw into the end of a 4x4 and it sinks without even needing to impact, who gives a damn, dude? I'll have a couple of these and just change them out because they charge in like 15 to 20 minutes. And you're able to get a lot of work done, especially the new nailers. There's a bunch of tools, man, where Flex needed a really tiny battery. And this thing weighs 1 pound, 1 ounce, I believe, when I checked. And then I put it on the drill. And the drill is very similar to the new DeWalt now. The new DeWalt is right here. And if we take a power stack, your power stack battery right here, and we line these things up neck and neck, you can actually see where the Flex is actually a little bit tinier, which is just insane to me. The Flex is a little bit shorter. You can see where the Flex is up here and the DeWalt is down there. You can see where they're the same height. Flex is a little bit higher, actually. There we go. What about the weight? I got a scale here. With the power stack, the Flex is 4 pounds, 13.1 ounces. Hopefully you guys can see that. And the Flex is 4 pounds, 13 ounces. Even. So if we put on an equivalent battery that's a 2.0, which isn't really a fair fight because this is not stacked lithium, but you can see where you're at 14, 4.9. And what we used to have with the 3.5 stack lithium was 5 pounds, 5.6. So you can see it's a pretty noticeable change. You can also get a good balance of the drill when you put this on here. It really balances it out. It's hard to explain. I can probably hold this on one finger. Yeah, there we go. You sure it still wants to lean back a little bit, but it's not really trying to go any direction really fast. See where it's trying to go a little bit further forward. There you go. You can see where it slowly goes forward, right? Let me put this camera up here. See where the drill kind of wants to fall forward. If I leave it right about there, it slowly wants to go forward, very slowly. And the stacked lithium battery really had it going backwards, which makes the tool feel heavier when you're trying to lift it up and it's kind of fighting the counteractiveness of like getting something drilled, you know. And the profile on it, man, is just clean. The 2.0 is where it's at. We're going to drive some screws here in a second and show you guys what it can do. But even the drill overhangs versus the battery. And when we grab the Flex recip here, you can see the nice clean lines on that. Look at that. I kind of like that the button's on the front. Time will tell if it's going to last. The button is very plasticky and easier to push. You can hear it. You can hear that. Especially if I bring it up next to my, you can kind of hear that. The other batteries are clickier, I guess you would say. It's just different. So I don't know about the longevity of how this is going to take a hit. But it feels really good. And then if we look at the impact, it's also a nice addition there. The impact weighs 3 pounds, 13.3 ounces there. And if we take DeWalt's impact with the tiny battery, we're at 3 pounds, 3.4. So you can see where the Flex is definitely just a little bit heavier, 10 ounces heavier, which is significant. But we're definitely moving in the right direction with Flex. They could make another impact. They've had the same impact since Gen 3 Milwaukee, maybe 2.5, I think. So they're definitely due for a newer impact. Maybe they'll make it lighter. I don't know. But Milwaukee's come out with 2. They've kept the same one, I think, and the same thing. And DeWalt's come out with like 5 different impacts since the Flex came out. So maybe the next Flex would be a little bit smaller. That would be kind of cool. I love this 860. The more I use it, the more I like the grip. It definitely has a more pronounced bump out right here on the 860. You can see it just by the grab of it, but it contours in there really nicely, so it doesn't just feel like a block, kind of like the rigids do. Or honestly, the Milwaukee Gen 4 is a little bit wider and not as comfortable as the DeWalt. And the Flex really tapers in too. So if we look at one that everybody knows and loves, it would be the 850, and you can see where the bump out, it contours more. See if we can get your profile there. What's behind here? That's good enough. You see where it really contours in there, and then it's kind of flat down here. It doesn't really have a pronounced bump. This one's got kind of a hump and then carries that hump and curves down. This one has a hump, but then it comes down straight. So it's just a different feel. But the more that I use the 860, the more that I like it. And if you want to compare this to a Makita, because everyone talks about the ergonomics of the Makita, if you look at the grip, I think it's worth doing. I'm going to grab the Makita so you guys can see if I can find it. I don't even know. It's not really on my list of tools to care where it wound up. So here's the Makita. For 40 volts, the handle is laughable how small this thing is. You can see where this is riding on here. And as you use this, the tool gets a little bit warm. And then it just sits here and you don't have that free air moving. And it's just not a good experience with this tool. It's really cramped up. Up here, rubs when you use this. This is not ergonomic at all. I hate this thing. If we look at the DeWalt's, you can see where you've got a huge gap there. And nothing's really riding here. You've got a huge, whatever that is, I don't know. Seems to stick out even though it's all the way in. Your finger really rides on that. And then you touch down here. Drives me crazy. Let me check the chat, see if there's any special requests so far. By check the chat, I mean read the last 3 comments. Metabo triple hammer for ergonomics all day. Yeah, the Metabo triple hammer, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I do know what to do, but you never had to be a leader. Okay, read that out of context. Having a big head and thinking you know everything. Talking about lunch, tacos. Are you selling tools? No, I'm not selling tools. We're just talking about tools, man. I'm a tool enthusiast, especially when it comes to hand tools. and what electricians use, especially right now. I'm kind of on a kick on getting electricians to grab the tool for the job that they need, not the one that does everything. I was helping somebody install a ceiling fan the other day, and I had my 840, which was nice, and I had this. So I had this with me. Do we have all the pieces to it? We do. Do we? Never know if you have all the pieces to this damn thing. Okay, we do. So here I had this, right, which is better than what he had. He had a number 1 Phillips and a 2-prong light up tester that lights up when you know, based on the voltage. No LCD on it. What did he have, man? He had some okay pliers that could get it done, but they were barely doable. Oh, he had Milwaukee's. He had Milwaukee. He had these. He had the original of these without the wire crimper, and this thing was like almost just pink, like it was just heavily worn. And I was able to make some joints and stuff in a switch because I had to go reset some GFCIs. He thought that he wired the fan wrong, and then it turns out whenever they did a remodel at this one room, he tripped some GFCIs, and they'd installed some GFCIs in the wall, and then they fed them on the line. So of course nothing worked, and they had a switch that fed the plugs, and it was just a nightmare. Like every situation that could go wrong went wrong. And then he also had the fan wired wrong. So once I found out that the switch fed the plugs, and then the plugs needed to be reset after we turned on the switch because we didn't have power to the GFCI. So once we got power on the switch, I checked the GFCIs, and then we got power there. And then I took my attention to the switch, and then I verified that we had voltage there and everything, verified the neutral was present. And then I was like, damn, okay, I guess it is the ceiling fan. Then I started taking down the ceiling fan, and I just started dropping all the screws, right, because I didn't have a magnet. And all I had was this thing, and it was better than what he had. So I was able to, you know, take this thing apart and at least have a number 2 Phillips while I was trying to assemble this fan. But I quickly found out that just because it's a multi-tool and it's really convenient, and even if you've been an electrician since 2007, you're still very capable and very humbling experience. You're still very capable of losing screws to a ceiling fan that you might never see again. So just kept dropping everything. It was a nightmare. And at one point I started taking this thing apart, and I was like, man, I know this thing has a magnet on it. So I was like, okay, cool. So we got a magnet here. But then I quickly realized that because it's a double end bit, it doesn't fit in the magnet, and it's not really that functional. So the moral of the story is that your 10-in-1, your 11-in-1, your 13-in-1, whatever it is really good for construction. And it helps you to close 4 squares, which is basically what you're going to be doing, pretty much. You're going to be closing 4 squares, opening a 4 square to troubleshoot, or doing something like that, which, you know, the Phillips number 2 works great for. See, you spend more time. You spend more time flipping around and trying to find the bit that you want than you do just grabbing the damn tool that you need. It's still not here. Hang on. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Is the Phillips here on the back end of this square? I did a magic trick. Or we don't even have a Phillips on here. We don't have a Phillips on here. Well, that's equally impressive too, I guess. We don't have a Phillips P2 on here. So here we are with a multi-tool, and I don't even have a Phillips number 2, which is literally the one thing that's going to get you out of a bind. I don't even have on here. So this is like double case in point, man. These things, they only slow you down, which is why I started talking about it more recently, because you find flipping around and trying to find the bit that you want when you could have just grabbed exactly what you needed and already been done. I just spent a whole minute looking for a Phillips that I didn't even have on here. Another reason why I like this, because this one here, they're so big you can't lose them. And you always know what you need. And then if you're working on Zinskos or Federals, they have the really tiny screws from 19 Diggity Do. And this blade will get in there. You can loosen the wires and either give somebody a temporary solution when their panel's like, you know, the breaker's burnt up or whatever's going on, or if you're just trying to change out everything in general. I wish I could find a ECX bit for this though. Check the chat. My biggest problem isn't finding the right tool, but losing the right tool and destroying the wrong one. Yeah. Yeah, that's one good reason why the Knipex are so good, man, because you can't destroy them. So the Knipex is almost always the right tool in every situation because they just don't slip and they are like an extension of your hand. So if you don't have a wrench, you know, just use Knipex. Of course, it's going to jack up whatever you're trying to tighten, you know, but if it's never going to be seen again, who cares? Zinsko FPE, yeah. Yeah, welders. Is that an Olight? No, this is a microphone. This is a microphone. But I recently got the Seeker 4. Grab the Swiss Army knife, yeah. The Hawk. I rely on so many Klein tools, but power tools are Milwaukee and slowly rolling over hand tools to Greenlee. Yeah. Yeah, man, I can't stress this enough. Don't buy Milwaukee hand tools. For the most part. The older ones are okay. The USA ones, I'm just not a fan of them. They have a bump out here. I already gave them away. They have a bump out here in the middle of the handle. It's more pronounced. They're just not it. And these are so good. They're very affordable. They're not even on the electrical aisle. They're in the tool aisle, which makes them affordable. They're like $24. And they are just as good as Journeyman Kleins, dare I say. If you're used to what you're used to, it is what it is. But if you guys watch the lives, we literally took a pipe bender and a 3-pound drilling hammer, which is the 1-pound sledgehammers, and conduit and everything. And we beat the snot out of these. That's why they look like this. And we did the same thing to the Kleins. Maybe these worse. And these survived. And the Kleins locked up. And yeah, it was a waste of $30. But if I'm going to recommend something, guys, I'm not that tool channel. We're going to destroy stuff live so you guys can see for yourself. I do not get on here and talk about tools like I know everything about them unless I know everything about them. So unfortunately, these are actually decent and worth your money. Well worth your money. And these are halfway decent too. These strip really, really nicely. I might show this every live, but I can't show it enough. Let me go get a piece of Romex. I'll show you how good these are. So we got a piece of wire from Romex. This is my thought on this, okay? These are not going to outlast your Knipex. You can buy almost 3 of these in the price that you pay for 1 pair of Knipex. So these aren't going to replace your Knipex. There's a couple of things they are going to do. They're going to replace your needle nose. So you're not going to have to carry those. They can cut 8-3 with this right here. These overlap. And then my other case in point for this is that I've never had a pair of strippers last me more than 2 or 3 jobs, right? Inevitably, we always get in that situation where we're on the ladder and we don't have what we need and we're staring at a ceiling wire or just you're trying to tighten the last little bit of screw to fasten that device into the wall, and it's hitting the tile, and you just need to cut just a little bit more off. And I think we've all been there when you grab something like this that says cut copper only on it, or you grab some of these, especially these that say cut copper only on it, and you cut that damn sealing wire, and then you look at what you just did to your pair of strippers, and you're like, damn, I knew that was going to happen. I've done it too many times, and I never learn from my mistakes. So I don't expect these things to last. At 20 bucks, man, every 3-4 jobs, I'll go buy another pair. These things strip like a dream. Let me show you. We're going to bend this up like this. I'm even going to give it a little twist so you guys can be impressed. And we're going to straighten it out. And we're going to grab right about here. We're going to make sure we get on the 12 solid. And I'm pretty confident that this is going to come off pretty, yeah. Yeah, just, I mean, they strip really well. Try that on a pair of clients. I dare you. We're going to even go further. We'll put a little corkscrew in it like this. Let's see if we can get around that corkscrew. The trick is traction to not lose it. So we're going to go here, make sure we're on the 12 for copper. And we're going to see if we can follow this corkscrew. This is pretty extreme, but I feel pretty confident about it because these are just that impressive, guys. And like I said, I put my money where my mouth is. We're getting a little bit caught up, but I think it's going to do it. It's trying to do it, I'll tell you that. Once we get around here, it's going to sail off of here. It's getting a little bit stuck. There we go. I mean, you can't do that with very many pairs of strippers. And I promise you you can't do it with these. I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to look like an idiot because there's not many pairs. And you can see how hard I was pulling, by the way. And when something hurts me, I don't stop. I just ignore the pain. It comes from just being in the field and just going. So, but yeah, man, these things cut like so good. I recommend these. They are the 48-22-3079s. And I hate Milwaukee hand tools, but these are good. They're good. I don't know what to tell you. You can do cut-in boxes with the F clamps with these, and they'll grab. They're not cross-hatched. So one of my biggest complaints, to not be a hypocrite, is that the Knipex don't have cross-hatching to make up joints. They just have straight serrades there, or whatever you want to call it. And so do these. If these were cross-hatched, if Milwaukee was paying attention, they made these cross-hatched, they'd be legendary. But they can make up or pull in F clamps for cutting boxes, and they've got enough bite to do it. They're not completely flat. Check the chat. Do I like the new Klein Tools Fastback knife? That's the last time that I saw the comment. Earlier today, whenever I was trying to open the flex battery, I grabbed this because I wanted to use it. And as soon as I opened it, I saw that it didn't have a blade. So this is what I bought. And I've made my bed and I'm going to lay in it. I need one with blade storage before I can speak about it. So right now, I haven't had a good experience with my Klein knife because it doesn't have blade storage. But I like the belt clip better. It flips out just fine. I like the material because it's light. And it's got a texture to it. It's hard to explain. If you look really close, you can see where it's not completely smooth. And if we look at the Milwaukee one, which is here somewhere, buried, See if I can find the Milwaukee one. Hang on. This is the Milwaukee one. Yeah, the Milwaukee one is actually very slippery. It's got a very nice finish to it. Nice. It almost feels like it's metal. No, I think about it. It's now I'm looking for a level. We'll use this one. Oh, it's not. Well, it probably is metal. It's just not magnetic metal. I'm pretty sure. Well, I'll scratch it for you guys. I'm pretty sure it's metal. Yeah, it's metal. So you can see right there where it's definitely got metal. So the finish is harder to get like a texture into it, I guess you would say. So they've got these contours and stuff, and they got this, you know, the raised lettering and the indented lettering and the contours and the grips. And man, the Milwaukee's perfect with just everything about how you flip it. It's hard to say something's better than the Fastback when they're the original and you've been using it for years and years. But I will say that naturally, because of the material that the Klein is made out of, you do get a better grip on your fingers because you're not grabbing slippery metal. I know I said thin. You're not grabbing slippery metal. But the Klein has enough raised edges, bumps, indentions, lettering, and notches in it to where it's not a problem. There's nothing wrong with a Milwaukee Fastback. This here flips equally as good. It's probably a little bit lighter now that I think about it. So if we were to look at it, oh, I'm pushing the wrong button. The Klein is 3.9 ounces. And the Milwaukee, I just realized the blades are in here. Hang on. Is 4.1. And the Klein is 3.8. So not that much of a difference. It's just a I can just tell when things are heavier. I don't know, guys. I've got very sensitive senses with tools. I just know just by grabbing them the difference and stuff. So yeah, do I like the Klein one? I do like the Klein one. Is it better than the Milwaukee? I don't know, because I don't have the one with the blade storage. But I'll tell you what feels like a gimmick is the one with the bit on the back. I think you're wasting space. You should always have more blades on you, because a dull knife is a dangerous knife. The most dangerous knife you can have, because you're pushing way too hard. And dull blades skip. Sharp blades dig in and bite and stay where they're supposed to stay. So I always prefer to have a nice sharp blade with whatever I'm doing. I've cut myself severely too many times to even play with that. And it's almost always been with a dull knife. Aussie hardwood, yeah, yes sir. When you have biceps like mine, I can never tell the difference between four. What's up, Morgan? That's true, dude. Dude's jacked, man. What's up, Morgan? That's hilarious, dude. I like the DeWalt retractable. It's nicely weighted, yeah. I just picked up the DeWalt retractable myself here. Where'd I put it? Well, that's strange. Maybe it's in here. Let me see. It is not in here. No, it is not in here. Hang on a second. feel like I'm staring right at it because I just had it. Bought it to use it. Oh, there it is. Okay. There's one knife more than something that's designed like this that I prefer, and it's going to be the All Trade. Now, the All Trade has a functional problem with it, I guess you could say. The All Trade has a squeeze button here, and when you squeeze it, the blade pops out. And when you eject the blade and you reset it all and you squeeze it again, another blade will pop out. It has a whole slot of blades. There's a couple of things that go wrong with the All Trade knife. Sometimes when you squeeze the blade, nothing happens. Sometimes when there's a number of things that happen with this knife, okay? A bunch of things happen where it doesn't work. But it has its functional workarounds enough to where I forgive it because I like the way that I can squeeze it and the blade pops out. But it's just a really thick knife with a nice rubberized top right here where your thumb just sits beautifully because you don't have any retraction mechanism in here. So it's got just a huge thumb rest. And if you're stripping like 600 to 500 wire, and it's really long, so you got a lot of real estate to where you're not going to come in contact with that blade. It's just a really, really enjoyable knife to use. This is probably the closest thing that you're going to get to it, but I don't know if I've found a decent retractable yet. I like this one because it's got 10 times blade storage, and I think it has magnets, or maybe it doesn't, just has a lot of blades. But this one kind of curves away, so you get some natural kind of, just the way you're holding it, it automatically puts the knife where you're not up like this, so it's less cock on your elbow. So if you start off with a knife that starts straight, like this, and the knife is straight, your elbow is down here like this. You can see where my arm is level and my knife is straight. If I go to use it like this, my elbow goes in the air. And now I'm having to use my wrist to push down to get force. If my blade is down here like this, and it's already at this angle, I can use my arm to push down to get force. So I like a knife that has a little bit of cant to it, to where it's already level here, and I'm really able to use my arm to get a parallel slice down. You're going to get more control if you are keeping things close to you and you're using your body and you're moving, because the knife moves forward while my arms are locked. So I just turn and my knife progresses forward like this. I'm not really ever pushing away, because if you're pushing like this and it slips, the knife goes really far. So if I want to take something and cut it, you can go like this, and everybody tends to kind of throw the knife forward like this, or you can bring it closer to you and really just push with what you need to be pushing and get that much more control. Or you can lock it close to you and almost pull the wood more than you're pulling the knife, because the knife is sharp. So you shouldn't ever have to really push that hard on a blade if the knife is sharp. So right now I'm actually pulling the wood, and you're going to see the wood fly back more than you're going to see my knife move forward. And that's essential if you're trying to strip wire or whatever you're doing. You're really better off maintaining control using your muscles more than you really just out here, yeah, like that, you know. Like that works, don't get me wrong. But when I push, I like to already have the angle that I want. And keep everything close to me, if that makes sense. So that's what I look for in knives. When I see something like this, because it's got that bump in, where your finger kind of naturally curves down, you've kind of got that automatic cant to it, to where it helps a little bit. But if I'm really if I'm doing carpet work or something where I'm really using a knife a whole bunch, I'll put this away. I'll keep this on my hip if I'm opening boxes, getting deliveries, cutting jet line, whatever you're doing. If I'm actually using my knife to do a specific task, I'm putting this thing away immediately. And I'm going with something that is more comfortable, you get more control on it, and the blade is already naturally angled to where it's going to benefit for you. Uh-oh. For real, once you learn how to hawkbill properly, you'll lose those carpenter knives out the window. Yeah, I am trying to think, was it a hawkbill that got me? I did something really stupid. I tell this story because complacency is what gets us all in trouble. So once you get really comfortable with doing something, you do it a whole bunch, safety just kind of becomes something that you're just not thinking about, right? And I think that's what I dug through here. I don't know if you can see it. It's when I first got my journeyman's license. Thought I was the shit. I cut my tendon right in half and couldn't lift my thumb up at all. I was pushing on a 4-foot ladder. I just bought a brand new Klein knife. I think it was a hawkbill. And I was trying to sharpen the hawkbill with the wrong type of sharpener. I think I was 22. I was 21. Yeah. And I was on a 4-foot ladder. And when I first started off, I had the knife sharpener here. And I had my knife here. And I was like, cool. Being safe. The next thing that I remember, because this thing was not getting sharp, because obviously I wasn't using the right sharpener, the wrong technique, stainless steel knife. I could go on with the reasons why I was foolish for the positioning, but inevitably what happened was I was not getting any results, and I was holding the knife sharpener like this on the 4-foot ladder, and I was pulling towards me. And I know I was pulling towards me because when I drug that knife across my freaking tendon, I didn't even feel it. But the knife hit the edge of the ladder, and it hit the nylon of the top cap of the ladder in front of me. I remember the knife digging into, the nylon and seeing the mark that it made on the nylon. And I put 2 and 2 together really quick because it felt like a karate chop, felt like a dull karate chop on my hand. And I remember thinking, hang on a second. If I'm pulling a knife towards me, which is stupid, and I feel something hit my hand, and I know that I dug the knife in the ladder in front of my hand, something bad probably happened. But I'm looking and I can't see anything, and I'm like, damn, I guess I'm good. But I still felt weird. I wasn't sure what was going on. So I went inside to ask my wife what she thought about it. And I opened up that doorknob to turn it. And as soon as I did that, dude, that thing popped open like this. And I'm just staring down into my whole hand in there. And it's got like air pockets and it wasn't just all blood. I could see down in there all the moving things in there, it wasn't just full of blood. It was just it was like an air pocket. And I could see some tendon and a couple of other things down in there. And my whole world was spinning. I was like, oh shit, I did cut myself. So I closed it up real quick and I walked over to my neighbor. And I was like, hey man, I don't know what I need to do here. Do you have any super glue or what are we going to do about this? And he was like, can you move your thumb? And I was like, I don't know. Can we not just close this up? And he was like, no, dude, that's your tendon. And I was like, nah, dude, what's a tendon? I'm 21, 22 years old. I didn't know the hell any of this was. So he's like, no, dude, if you cut your tendon in half, you're not going to be able to move your thumb. He's like, why don't you move your thumb? So I'm trying to move my thumb. And I see the tendon start pushing out of my hand. And I was like, oh, man, that's not good. He's like, so can you, I was like, man, I guess I can't, I don't know. So I had it up like this and I was going to the hospital, had my wife drive me. And I'm sitting there, and I guess I'm still in shock. Can't really feel anything, or it stings a little bit, whatever. And we get to the emergency room, and they clean it all out, and they do everything, you know. And I'm laying back. They won't let me see it. And they're just in there with a sponge, just, you know, attacking it. And they're like, can you give us a thumbs down? So I give them a thumbs down, and like, I got like, I don't know, 7 nurses like around me. And they're like all cheering. They're like, yeah, yay, you know. And then they're like, can you give us a thumbs up? And dude, the room is just dead freaking quiet. And I'm like, am I doing it? And they're like, no. I was just like, well, what does that mean? They're like, you're probably going to need surgery. Well, I tell you what, guys, I went to a surgeon and I was quoted like $15K to attach it all back together. And that dude said, there's a really slim chance we can put it in a splint and you can leave it like this for a very long time and it might reattach. And as crazy as it sounds, this thing reattached. I didn't have to have surgery to reattach it. But I saw that thing completely in two. The doctor saw it completely in two. When my wife fell through a window a couple of years ago and she cut all of her tendons off the back of her hand and she had to have a lot of surgery to get them all back together and a lot of PT. I asked the doctor, I was like, hey, what's the chance of this stuff reattaching itself, you know? And he was like, 0% chance. Impossible. Even a partial tear will never reheal itself. And I'm just looking at my hand and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I know. I got really, really blessed with that situation for sure. You've been there too, saw the bone, and you've been there too, the tendons, because I asked the surgeon to show me because I knew it looked really cool. That is pretty cool. That stuff never bothered me. I got a giant whiteboard from somebody from an office building. Yeah, very, very lucky, no doubt. I got a whiteboard from somebody, and it was I think it was a 4x8 by 3/4 sheet of MDF. And it had a silver like backing on it that was like metal. And then it was whiteboard. So it was like very heavy, to say the least. It was insanely heavy. I pick up some really stupid heavy stuff all the time. At least I used to. And this thing was really, really heavy. And I was getting in the back of my truck and I went to go adjust it. And when I caught it, it landed on my wrist. And it just instantly just sliced my wrist. I don't know which scar it is. It's probably this one here. Or maybe it's this one. I don't know which one. I think it's this one right here. Sliced right across my wrist. And man, that was a pretty good cut on that. That thing, well, I thought that I had shrapnel in there and I was like picking at it. And my neighbor was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know, man. I cut my wrist here and I think I got something inside of it. And she was like, that's your vein. Stop picking at that. So, yeah, apparently it looked black. I don't know. It was just dark blue, I guess, and traumatized. But yeah, man, your body's crazy. You need that stuff. Duct tape does work. That's what I used. That's usually what I do use. I think what's better than duct tape, though, is electrical tape. Electrical tape will seal just about any hole in your body. This stuff will contour really nicely. So if we got a hole in something like this, so this is our hand, and we put a little, oh, that's too much. Hang on. You put a little dent in there like that. Put this black tape on there, man. And you're going to notice that the tape contours to the shape of the cut. If I can get the light on it just right so you guys can see it. You can see where the tape right there contours to the indentation. And this stuff seals really, really good. Waterproof too, yeah. Yeah, the best stuff. Just remember to use the red or the blue. Don't get the Super 33. Get the Is it the 120? I think it's the 120. Maybe it's the 100 series. This is, what is this one? This is 3M, but this is the Temp Flex. You don't want the 1700 series. You want the red or the white or whatever it is. It's like the 120 or whatever it is. That stuff won't leave residue behind. No, 33 plus is like glue, man. That stuff, that's the good stuff. You don't want that on you. You want the white or the blue or the red. Just a colored one works really good, because that's like the ultimate Band-Aid, because it doesn't leave any black residue behind. This stuff will leave marks on your skin. Like, even if I was to pull this across my finger here, like just casually, you can see where it's clean right now. And if I was to drag some tape across here, like this, you can see where you get that black on there. Maybe you can't. The light is fighting me tonight. You can see where you get that on there, and it leaves behind. So I like getting the colored stuff. And if it's red, nobody can tell you're bleeding. Put paper towels first. It wicks too much, man. It won't stop the bleeding. You got to seal that stuff off. I've cut myself so many different ways, so many different times, man, in the field. I don't even look anymore. If I cut myself, dude, I just ignore it. I pretend like I didn't. I just keep moving. Yeah, super glue, dude, I think is the way to do it. That's what they did with my surgery. Whenever I had gallbladder surgery, they literally pretty much used super glue on that stuff. Use the electrical tape to hold your Band-Aid on. I've done that too. I think we've all been there. What's up, Paul? Electrical tape will also provide a tourniquet. You're right about that. It gets stickier as it gets older. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. So, what else did we get? We also bought these, we bought these damn things, guys. These are $25, and the standard plugs are like $23. And I thought for the lives, whenever we're doing the infrared and stuff, by the way, somebody sent me an infrared camera. P2 Thermal Master sent me an infrared camera. And we're going to be playing with it here pretty soon. But, yeah, I guess you just lift these out. That's crazy. That's crazy. And how do we bond the yoke? Let's see, the yoke is metal. So we got a metal yoke here. The screw. Interesting. So it's mostly plastic up here. Sometimes less metal's worse, because you're going to get arcing if something's trying to trip. Okay, I can see the self-grounding aspect of it now. This little tab here is going to be the self-grounding on the front there for your metal faceplates. So we're not just relying on the screw to screw into a, I don't have one on me, like an industrial cover or like a handy box cover or something like that. That's what that is. So this metal here, and I'm not an engineer here, but I'd imagine as you tighten this way, I think this is naturally going to push in the outward direction, just based on just the way that it would work, how that would kind of push out a little bit. It's definitely more pronounced, sticking out purposely. We've got the little tabs in there that maintain the screw. Unlike the little black little washer things, or the blue ones. You guys know what I'm talking about. Sometimes they're white. There's a requirement in the code book that talks about if you're going to use the green screw and the self-grounding receptacle as the bond to your box, you're permitted to not have to install an equipment ground screw on a surface mount. It's surface mounted only, a surface mounted box. If you install a surface mounted box, like a handy box, handy box is not a good example. If you install a 4-square box on the surface of a beam, for example, and you use industrial covers, and the industrial covers have a nut and a bolt that's physically have like threads, and it's going to bolt the receptacle to the cover, and you have a self-grounding type receptacle, and you also have to remove the washer that isolates it. All this is in the code. You have to do all that stuff to consider this as a ground for your box. I should find it for you and read it to you. But this is pretty interesting. Pretty interesting stuff here with the self-grounding, with the screw retention here, the tabs on the side. You still got an exposed little tab here on the side there, so maybe you could check voltage once you physically get the damn thing out. I see here where the neutral has a tab. I wonder if you can break these tabs to do a half switched hot. I kind of want to break this tab off for science. At least take a peek. Oh no, we broke it. We must know. Okay, so we got the tab exposed now. It's on the side right there. Let's get our needle nose and see if we can break this receptacle. This sucks, man. We're wasting this freaking receptacle. That's okay. I want to know. So let's get our multimeter out and check continuity to verify what we think we know. Got a multimeter video coming out too. Only what you need to know. Not all the bull crap that you see on YouTube. Capacitance and all that crap, man. It's the very basics on what you need to know. The only stuff that you're ever going to use in the field. And some tips and tricks for it. Nothing special. Okay, so the trick to getting into a tamper-resistant receptacle is to plug them both in at the same time. Like this. Where the hell is the camera? There we go. So we're going to put these in at the same time. Get in there. There we go. Okay, so we have our neutral in. These are a pain in the ass to troubleshoot. I can already tell you right now. These are going to be a pain in the ass to troubleshoot. And they're banking on you just replacing this stuff versus troubleshooting it. I promise you that's how the world is going. Because right now, I've got to get another multimeter lead in here to get the multimeter lead in here. And it'll make sense in a second if you professionals know what I'm talking about. But if you don't know, you cannot plug into a tamper-resistant receptacle without pushing both in at the same time. So to check continuity from this point to this point, you have to do what I'm about to show you. Or break the receptacle. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to borrow another multimeter here. I put them all away. What are we going to use? We're going to use something we shouldn't use. What can we use? Let's see if we can sneak it in. Can we sneak it in behind the plug? If we're quick. You guys see the length that I'm having to go to get this in here? This is no joke. This is coming in the future. When you guys go to troubleshoot one of these, you're going to have to do this. This is not going to work. I'm kind of pissed off about this design. Because there's nothing on the backside to check to see if it's a split receptacle. and troubleshoot it properly like a technician would. I literally have to go get another multimeter to do this. Unbelievable. And leave this one plugged in. Okay, we're back. Let's plug, I need the black of this multimeter. And then this one here. There we go. Now we can see if we have continuity. See how stupid that is? It's crazy. Can you imagine trying to do that in the field? If someone else knows another way, by all means, speak up. So now we can verify that they are connected, right? I want to break this tab now. Sorry if this is irritating. I'm going to turn off the multimeter. I'm going to break the tab on this one now. Let me see if I can access this, or is that a part of... that's actually a part of the receptacle, so we can't break this tab. Because that is a neutral, which means that we needed the hot side. Because the neutral stays connected. Damn it, damn it, damn it. I was not paying attention. I got to do it again. So, hang on. We got to do it again. The hot goes in here. There we go. And then we need another multimeter to plug in here. There we go. Yep. Okay, I'm effing up here. There we go. Please. This is ridiculous. Okay, we got it. There. Now we can check continuity. We got continuity. Now we can break the tab. We have the tab here. You can see where it's split on the side. Now we have a half hot receptacle, or switched, whatever you want to call it. And now we can scroll up here and you can see we don't have continuity anymore. I got to read the chat because there's got to be a better way to do that. But that's pretty insane when you stop and think about what it takes now to be able to check that, because there's no exposed parts. There's like no exposed metal. You would have to get your multimeter like just barely here, and it's just not going to happen. Yeah, it's gone to just replace instead of troubleshoot at this point. So yeah, they do have it. They have the feature. You can break the tab. But there is no exposed metal on the back side of this. There's no fast way to do it. You're better off just pulling out the damn wires and doing something else. I don't know. I don't know how you're supposed to get your multimeter into this. We made a plug adapter that allows you to check continuity. Thank God. We're going to need it. This is crazy, man. We're needing all these new tools. It's Friday. Trying to break a decor edge receptacle. Yeah. Let's see here. This is weird. Is the GSCI? No, it's just one of these freaking Wago style. This thing's in my way. I'm tired of seeing it. I ripped it off. It's one of these Wago style receptacles, man. What is it rated for? It is rated for use number 14 or 12, no aluminum, made in China, and hot and white. And then I already know, but I want to know more. I can't imagine this wouldn't ring, but I'm curious just to see. We should get a beep here. Yeah, we do. We get a beep there. We get a beep there. We get a beep there. You get a beep there. No beep there. Interesting. Now I want to open one up. So I'm going to pull these screws out before I hurt myself. Now the other question is, can you install these on handy boxes? Or is this going to get in the way of a handy box? Because all this stuff is coming, guys. They're making this stuff in a bad way. So let me go get not a handy box. I keep saying that. Industrial cover. Let me try this on an industrial cover because these ears have to come off. We should have one. We should have one here somewhere. Let me check. Uh-oh. We don't have an industrial cover. There we go. Okay, let's check. Let's check. What does it take? What does it take? Industrial cover. Standard receptacle or a switch, if we have one here, and we do. Standard switch here. Okay. I'm going to show you guys so everyone understands what's going on here. To install this, you can see where this lines up perfectly. Professionals already know what I'm getting at right here. To make this thing line up perfectly, the ears get broken off the back of this switch. And the same thing has to happen to your receptacles. Now, before I show you guys anything else, okay? Before I show you anything else, these have been out for a couple of months. Okay? These have been out for a couple of months. There are YouTubers on here that are talking about these that haven't addressed half of the shit we've been talking about on these tonight. Those videos have 5 million views, and it's the same douchebag sitting up there talking fluff about DIY handyman garbage that doesn't help anybody out. Okay, this is stuff that we need to know, and we're showing you guys here. So we got 31 likes right now. Okay, there's 300 of you guys in here. I don't see how we can't get any more. I'm just saying. I'm just being honest, because don't talk about Soul's channel. That's great. I'm just being real. Like, you have to knock these ears off. You have to. You have to do it. So how are we gonna knock the ears off of this? Is there breakaways that I don't know about? Like, this is stuff that we need to know. Can I break it away? Is it going to void the listing? Is it going to start a chain reaction where if the face of this starts falling off, is the customer able to sue me because it didn't have breakaway tabs? This doesn't feel like a very good option to pull this off. It really doesn't act like it wants to go. I don't see anything that shows me being able to break this away. We're going to try it, though, so you guys can see what it's going to take. But it looks like it's going to take a lot. So let's see if there's any instructions on this before we Because it's Louboutin. They make fine stuff. Hang on. Is it addressed? This one is not mine. That is also not mine. Okay, we need to be able to break it off. Well, we can remove something. Hang on. It shows us removing something. The outlet strap is designed for midway wall plates. If you want to use a standard size wall plate, carefully remove both break-off fins as shown here. Having a hard time seeing if you guys can see or not. Right there. It's got some break-off fins, but it does not address industrial covers yet. It has break-off fins. So on the back side, looks like there's break-off fins. These are the break-off fins. Let's see. I don't feel like these things just want to break, but whatever. I don't really want to cut them because they say they're break-off fins, so we should be able to break them off. Okay, we got a little bit of break-off action there. Okay, that's one fin. Is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that this fits completely perfectly in this slot so good that it's like maintained retention? These are seriously like the best pliers ever. If you guys haven't tried these out, they are the J2158CRs, and they are fantastic. Okay. What does the industrial cover think about it? It still doesn't fit. It still does not fit. That's crazy. So I can't even put these in an industrial cover if I wanted to. Like, we can make them fit, but at a certain point, everything has a listing. You can see where this thing's perfectly lined up, by the way. You can see the margins on it. It's just not going to go. If we line it up, perfect. That's pretty close. It's just not going to go. So we can make this fit, but there's no provisions for it. And once we start peeling off the plastic of this, we really start fighting this self-grounding tab here on the backside, which makes me feel like if I saw somebody do this, I would probably fail their inspection. Yeah, look at this. Look at where the plastic stayed behind. Now we'll cut it. We'll go ahead and cut it now, so you guys can see. We just cut off the TR. We just cut off identification on it. You can see where the plastic stayed behind, even though we ripped on it. You can see where it's the same height as this. So making this thing happen, it's just not, it's not meant to be. Even if we really attack it, we can get... Yeah, we're about to cut off the UL. We're going to cut off the UL listing. Right there. Say goodbye to the UL listing, guys. And then we need to cut off more. We have to cut off a little bit on each side, actually. This is kind of crazy. They're just not going to work for industrial covers. So these are not commercial. There's no way. We broke it. That's okay. It'll still stay. Even if we break the top off, I still don't think it's going to fit. Because the bottom, yeah, see, we're on there now. But the bottom still has to come off just a hair. Like, just like the smallest amount to get that on there. You can see we're reflexing that backwards. That's crazy. They don't even say that on there. Imagine buying these and then getting to the job and trying to do this. And then now that we've cut the UL listing, if there's an issue with this, we are 100% liable. We just modified potentially the whole plug. We're going to go ahead and open this now. I guess, yeah, got some spray foam. That's what it seems like we need. Let's get... I want to break off the back of it without breaking the front. See, one hand. Didn't even think about it. I just did it. You don't need the you don't need the auto slide ones. Those are only residential. Yeah, no kidding. I'd like to see where it says that on there. Lost a piece. Okay, so that's the plastic shutters. That's what slides back and forth to let you plug in there. That's what aligns the prongs. That's what grabs your that's what grabs here. Wow, those aligners are very necessary. I'll tell you that much. I might have underestimated how important those aligners are. Hang on a second. I'm having a hard time even lining this thing up. There we go. So they've got a metal overlap that is welded to the copper. These might be fairly decent in a bad way. Let's get this yoke out of here. You can see where the yoke attaches to the ground right there. There we go. That's the grounding aspect of it. You can see the tack weld on the yoke. That's where the ground grabs. That's the tack weld there. And if we plug that in, this will still fit in there. Get nice retention on there because that's the grounding point. So that's how that works, in case you guys didn't know. But this is what I want to see. I want to see how these are connected. I'm going to get this black piece out of our way. See, if it's floating, I'm not going to be impressed. It is tack welded with the floating aspect. So it is tack welded there. Right? Little 2 dots right there. That's a tack weld. And then it's got a little floaty piece here that allows it to get the spring tension. because this probably slides. Yes, it does. See how that slides? Oh, shit. It's not tack welded. Unless I broke it. Let me see. Did I break the tack weld? Oh, it's not tack welded. It is friction fit. It is friction fit with an internal indent bump out. So those bumps there are to make contact with this portion here that the wire attaches to. So it does not tack weld. It is 100% friction fit. If these things get wet and you get the slightest amount of corrosion, you're screwed. Screwed. You can't allow any moisture in between here. I would bet, hang my hat on it, that they do not make WR of these. They simply couldn't. The stuff they use to terminate knob and tube. Yeah, dude. Knob and tube is still going to be the OG biggest quality. People forget, man. The only reason why we don't do knob and tube anymore is because you had open conductors. But the best thing about knob and tube is that it had no insulation. So if the insulation can't fail, you can run unlimited amperage through it, basically. You can run a lot of amperage through a number 12, just the insulation melts. So when you get Romex with a bunch of conductors that are very close together and you have insulation failure, that's why you have fires when breakers don't trip. If you don't have insulation on wire, you can run a lot of amperage. You guys would be scared to know how much amperage you can run through wire without insulation on it. And then you also get the benefit of free air. So you can run even more than you could normally in a situation where you're free air triplex or whatever, because you still have insulation on your triplex. It's just electrical tool talk, and we're taking apart a receptacle right now and looking at the friction fit aspects of the nightmare that is to come United States wiring, basically, because there's a huge push for this stuff. They're trying to tell us that it's perfectly fine. But what you're going to see here, we just pulled out another piece of this. We thought that this was actually a tack weld, and I was kind of impressed. But those little bumps right there are not tack welds. They're just little indents, because this thing free floats and just pops right off. And guess what this piece is? This piece here on this copper tab here is where your wire inserts in, where the lever opens up and clamps to. So, guaranteed, right? The best thing about a wire nut versus a Wago is that you actually have a physical copper on copper connection. And when you look at a screw, or a lug, you can say, you've got a direct connection on the copper that's etched into that brass portion there. And then you've got copper that was tightened into this screw. So even if water does get on this, you've got a metal to metal bond that's basically oxygen free because you sandwiched it. So even when this stuff gets wet, sure, it's going to corrode, but it's not going to corrode where the wire connections are. It's going to corrode where the air gaps are. So where you're going to get your corrosion is going to be when the switch is not open. I mean, when the switch is open and not closed, when it's not making contact, or vice versa. You're going to get internal corrosion inside the switch, but as far as like your actual connections on your wire or in your wire nut, you've got that copper on copper connection it's kind of one piece at that point, where it's just going to stay connected. This stuff here has floating parts in it that are not electrically connected together other than like a friction spring tension fit. So this is my final say on this after taking all this apart, would be it's probably fine, you know? It's not gonna fail. It's listed. It's safe to use in your house. They've tested it. But it's not near as resilient. That's the best way to word that. This is not near as resilient. Does it need to be resilient? No, because the inside of your house is supposed to be dry all the time. But we all know that that's not always the case. So the same thing as a Wago. If I can find one here on the bench. We got a couple of different Wagos here. And then I've got a questionable Wago here that I need to look up. This one might get me in trouble if I talk about it though. But we need to look this one up. And we will. But we're going to talk about it tonight. So this is a Wago. And it's got a lot of spring tension involved in it. It's like a Wago. It's not a true Wago. It's got spring tension involved in it. Where you don't have like a true copper on copper connection. So what I'm going to say about Wagos is they're not as resilient. There's nothing more resilient than a copper to copper connection. There's just not. You can't change my mind on it. There's been too many situations where I've opened up stuff from the 50s, 60s, whatever it is. And when you make a proper joint, I'm going to have to use another pair of Kleins here to help me out. Because it's a short piece of wire. But when you make a proper joint and you actually roll it around here, and you can see where this is going straight up, what we're going to do, we're going to bend that down there, around there like this to continue the perfect shape of making up a joint. And then we're going to give it a good twist and we're going to give it a pull at the same time to create, I mean, basically like a forever bond right there. And if you make up a joint like this, made it too tight. It's okay. You make up a joint like this, and I do. This is how I make my joints. And you put a wire nut on that. I hate to tell you, but the wire nut is only protecting contact. The wire nut's not holding anything. You make a joint that looks like that, you don't have to worry about anything. This thing's never coming undone. And then by the time you put a wire nut on it, we've got the quality wire nuts, so need another bite on it. You put the wire nut on there, this thing's never coming undone. So you can see where the top finished the same height, and we can spin this thing around. We can do a lot of things to this. That joint is not, I mean, we're going to break the copper before we get the thing undone. We tightened the piss out of it. Yeah, see, we broke the copper before the joint even came undone. That's a forever joint, man. There's nothing better than copper to copper tightened like that. It's the best resistance. It's the best surface to surface. It's better than a Wago in every way. Does it take more time? Yeah. Is it harder to troubleshoot, take apart? Yeah. But does it last forever? Also, yeah. But as far as these go, man, I suppose I'll use them in my house. They should be safe. Ideal twist wire nuts. We'll do that to you. Perfect twist. I've been using it for over 2 decades. No pre-twist. Nice. Forever is great if you never have to touch it. Yeah. That's very true. Well, it just depends. I spaz out. Keep breaking off wire nubs in the nuts. Barn door receptacles are safe. Regular should be only used for cans. Yeah, I would agree with that. Dang, how were the Knipex? Did you just get here, Josh? We talked about the Knipex for the first 30 minutes, man. In great detail. Like really stupid great detail for the Knipex. They are acceptable. They don't feel the same. They have a slightly different grip. The grip is slightly changed. I bought them just for you, buddy. I'll show you again very quickly because I don't want to bore everybody. But basically, this sticks out further than the original. If we close them all the way and we hold them right next to each other, you can see where the grips have different heights. On the back side too, you can see where the grips have different heights. If you hold them face like this, the same way, you can see the originals have more metal right here, which makes it more comfortable to grab because your finger naturally sits here. When you grab these here, your finger naturally sits in between the grip and the metal. The diamond is more pronounced on the new ones and slightly more open if we look at it. We also saw that we have Vanadium L less than 3 here. And this one has Vanadium K14. We verified the height of the push button on cardboard and had different indentions and colored them. As far as why we bought them, the slip thing works only so much. It's kind of gimmicky. It only works in the very open position, and then it's able to slide up, and then it locks. If you put it midway, sometimes if you keep tension right here and you push down, but you keep tension, you're able to slide them up and down. But for the most part, they just try to lock as soon as you're done. Like they're done. They're locked. So as soon as you get the size that you want, they really just lock unless you keep tension on them like this. The deal breaker for me is going to be the push button and the grip. When I grab these, and I can do this one-handed, and I can sneak up on whatever size I want just by doing this, or just by doing this with one hand, or whatever you're doing. You can use your chest to adjust these with one hand, or you can sneak up on whatever you're trying to do just by going like this with one hand. I don't need this feature. So basically they changed a lot. Oh, one other deal breaker. This right here is more pronounced out than this one is. So this one's pretty much flat and not going to get caught. And this one here is open just a little bit more right there. Alligators look nice. I like them, but didn't like that they didn't offer a quick set without it being opened. I don't think it was a huge step. It wasn't a huge step. In fact, I would just skip them all together because I'm so used to having my finger up here and grabbing. And this is where the leverage kind of is. Oh, we also tightened the coupling so tight that we couldn't physically tighten it anymore until we were ready to like just basically rip the thing in half, except I wasn't strong enough to do that. But yeah, that thing is so tight now. So as far as the grip and the slip and the fit and the function of them not slipping, 10 out of 10 still. But I still don't recommend them. These are still better in just about every way. Looks like the grips are very similar still too, which is good. Yeah. Yeah. That's the Knipex there. Okay, well, what time is it? You guys want to see the 2.0 Flex? You really can't fix what's perfect, man. There's no room to perfect it. They tried. It's that good. I'll show you the 2.0 Flex. We have a lot of stuff on the bench. Okay, we got this and we got that. Here's the Flex here. We're gonna take some 6-inch screws. Right here. I would be surprised if it impacts. And this is the 2.0 battery. So the question is, how much power does this thing put out? Puts out enough, because this thing's not even going to impact driving this screw in. Maybe. We'll see. Oh, I might need to hold this down in a vise. Let me see. No, it impacted that time. This piece of wood might be harder than my last piece of wood. I'll get a vise here if we start looking too ridiculous here. Oh, there you go. No impact. Okay. See if we can get another bite on it. There we go, right here. Here we go. Yeah, see? No impact. It just drives it. So the argument is you should be using a drill to drive a screw. But this basically is a drill. It just happens to impact at the last second. So it's still faster than a drill. It's easier to use than a drill. And you look cooler. Damn. Well, that's on the floor there. There you go. So the 2.0 is very capable. It's a drill, yeah. You are the vice, yeah. 98% drill, 2% impact. 100% cool. You look cooler, yeah. Wait till you have to troubleshoot a circuit. Just leave extra wire, man. Leave extra wire. We'll just cut it. We'll just cut the wire nuts off. And is that hot? It is a little bit hot. I can still pick it up. It's warm, but it's not hot. Here we go. Yeah, dude. It doesn't even impact, and it's a 2.0. It's great. It delivers all the performance that we could ask for. What does the flex drill think about it? The flex drill looks amazing with this thing, too. I could tell that I chucked that in sideways the second I did it. Ooh. It's It's on turbo mode. Can we do this with one hand? I don't know. It's a freaking drill. Who knows? Yeah. I just want to run a screw through my hand. That'd be hard to explain. I guess we'd have the video to show it. We'd be like, well, this is what happened. What happened was overconfidence with YouTube got the best of me. No. Yeah. I don't know, man. I like the 2.0 a lot. Like a lot. Recip runs it nice too. Let's see here. Does it make the quick eject feel funny? Heavier tool, baby battery. No, I went through all this earlier. It's really not bad. If we look at the balance of it, if we really sit it here, you can see where it was already kind of battery heavy, just from how it wants to sit. And it really just kind of leveled it out a little bit more than anything, because the heavy battery really had it going that way. So it really just kind of balances the whole thing out more so than the 3.5. Did we get the screw out of that thing? We need to get the screw out of here. Hang on. See, I don't know if you guys realize, but just pushing this button and grabbing this is such a natural thing now, where you don't have to grab the collet and the bit at the same time. You can still do it on the Flex. You can grab the collet and the bit at the same time, but you don't have to. And it's really nice. Once you get used to pushing this button, it's a game changer. If you ever get used to it. Let's see, is this thing just going to accept my blade, or is it going to say no? Let's find out. Let's bring it all the way up. There we go. Now you guys can see it. Is it going to just pop in there? Yeah, dude. Good old freaking Flex, man. So good. Love the Flex stuff. All right, let's see what we got. 2.0 recip. Let me change the angle. I think it's funny because you bought me all the M18 tools and then decided that you didn't like them. It's all good. Here we go. Let's compare it. Let's do a noise check. Okay. Let's get a 3.5 into a noise check. Very similar. I'm going to say that's very similar. Here we go. That did feel faster. It should, because it's a 3.5. But the 2 still did fine. My rigid impact driver struggles with timber lock screws and pressure treated lumber with a 2 amp hour battery. But it's 10-year-old technology. I'm looking for a new one. Nice. The DeWalt stuff's fantastic too, man. Gen 3 hammer drill, Gen 3 impact driver. What else you got? You asking me or somebody else? Let's see here. What are we going to open it with tonight, guys? Let's use a wire nut. Can we open it with a wire nut? This might be too easy. Maybe it's not. Oh, it's going to be a challenge. We might not be drinking. That might be... we're not giving up. Hang on. Can we open it? No, we can't open it. We're going to destroy my thumb. We'll try one more time. That hurts like hell. It's too soft. What else can we use? We can use a Wago. Oh, and we got to talk about the number 10 Wago. We got to talk about this Wago. Don't forget, we got to talk about this Wago. Let's open it with this Wago. It's not going to open. Let's try this way. Let's try this way. Come on. Maybe we just got to push it like this. Oh, I hear it. I can smell it too. Oh no, we broke it. Okay, let's keep trying. Did I need that to display for you guys? I'm going to destroy this Wago if we have a chance to talk about it. Come on. Ah. What else can we use? We can use a screw, man, but a screw is no fun. That's too easy. We got to use a pencil. We got to... That is the strongest lead I think I've ever seen. Like, we literally just bent this thing, and the lead didn't even care to break. It just opened the pencil. Okay, we're running out of things to open it with. Oh, we've got a Tesla bonding tab from a gateway. This will surely open it. Yeah, too easy. We cheated with that one. We'll finish this one and get another one. Okay, let's talk about these. These are United Refrigeration CU ZN.1 AEX EB LLC 13. Okay, that's what it says there. And then if we look on this side, it says use only with adapter, which I don't know what that means, because these, you don't use an adapter, you plug wire straight in here. And then it says EX2G 44 or 440 volts /6 degrees. Now on the top of it, it says Wago 221. They do not have a listing. They don't have a gauge size. They don't have anything on them. This is all they have on them, is what I just read you. There's no gauge size. There's nothing on them. If we look at a standard Wago, let me see if I can find it here. if we look at a standard Wago, the first thing it tells you is AWG 24 through 12, UL. And then it says 450 volts, 32 amps. That's what it says on there. And then it says 20 amps, 300 volts on the other side. These Wagos here, solar contractors are using. This is potentially bad news. Someone look into this. They are called the Wago 221s. If you look these up on Amazon, it says that they're rated for hazardous locations. Or corrosive environment, I think is what I think they call it, corrosive environment. So a lot of solar contractors are using these inside their solar deck on the roof. I think it's a terrible idea to use a Wago, but as an electrical inspector, I can't mandate what products somebody uses if they're listed. Now, I know Wago 221s are listed, but that's kind of all I know. What's you guys' thoughts about using Wagos on solar? We all know that's a bad idea. But also, there is no wire rating on this whatsoever, which is pretty interesting. So, yeah, that's all that's on here. They're Wago 221. If you look them up, they're gray. Someone do some digging, because I know we got a pretty smart community. You guys look up all kinds of cool stuff. So, cheers, indeed. You got millions of pliers. Yeah. What do you use, an impact wrench? Talk about the Wago we did. What are we looking at for on the 221? Well, I just threw it behind my back. We probably need some kind of wire gauge would be nice. A wire gauge and, yeah, just that. Wire gauge would be nice. I've got contractors putting number 10 in these things. I'm sure you can do it. I would not use a Wago for solar, man. I would not. If I had a company and I used a Wago for solar and someone called me and said, hey, my whole roof is on fire, I would probably think to myself and be like, yeah, that checks out, you know? Okay, perfect. 23 through number 10. I think that's what they're doing on them. Even MC4 can, yeah, I know. That's the thing with MC4 connectors. Ruck and Ross is absolutely right. If you don't use an actual MC4 connector, there's a lot of crimping tools out there, and there is a lot of, appreciate it. There's a lot of like crimp sets that say MC4 on them, but MC4 is almost like a brand in itself. So you can get something that says MC4 compatible. You can get MC4 connectors. There's a bunch of different types of MC4s out there. There's only one true MC4. So before you guys go online and you're trying to build your own solar, don't forget that. Like, you can't just buy any crimp tool that's compatible with MC4. You are guaranteed to pretty much have a fire. Like, it's pretty much a guarantee at this point. If you look around and you see on the news all these buildings with solar and you know, they caught fire or whatever, usually it's MC4 connectors that were not true MC4 connectors. And now we've got contractors throwing Wagos on their connections. The original model connectors accommodate all wire types ranging from 24 to 12. The 221EX model accommodates all wire 24 through 12 with a number 10 model 20 through 12 scheduled for release in the future. With a 10 module. So are these number 10 or not? These are for 10. Or are these not for 10? Interesting. They're huge. Like, you could fit number 10 in. If I hadn't have Coming soon for 10. Damn, they shouldn't be using these. Yeah, I saw him in his truck and I was like, huh, that's interesting. And he was like, yeah, they're faster. And I was like, yeah, but you're not putting them on the solar, are you? And he was like, yeah, that's what they gave us to put on the solar. I'm like, okay. So this is pretty much how they attach, right? You've got the metal back piece on the back here. And then on the lever itself, we got a fold of metal shaped like this that basically like spring tensions in there that snaps shut. They have a Wago gel box too. Never seen that. Gel box? I don't even know what that is. I don't know, man. They just got to teach people how to do things properly and no shortcuts when it comes to some of this stuff. There's a certain plug on here that I can't talk about that's for charging your vehicle that is going to remain nameless. The brand will. That is really bad news. Joshua sent me something on here. Hopefully Joshua didn't send me a virus. We're downloading it. Oh, come on, man. You don't need my birthday. Just open the thing. I don't need an account. Sign in with Facebook or Google. How about no? Oh, perfect. Yeah, so this is the Wago here. Yeah, but this isn't them, Josh. This is the orange one. We need the 221 that's gray. It looks like this. Wago 221. This is it here. But when I look it up, dude, I never find a rating on it. I never even find a, oh, shoot. Well, there you go. It's not rated for number 10. Make sure there's nothing on screen that I can show you. Yeah, so that's it there. And if we scroll down, you're going to see... You're going to see 24 through 12. That's a bad deal. But then I see these. I don't know. There's a lot of contradictory information there. It's kind of weird that they don't have the rating on them, though. Usually everything, you know, like Wago-wise, will have like an actual rating on it. It'll tell you what it's good for. No viruses, yeah. No, I saw it. I saw it. You're good, man. I already downloaded it. I trust you. Encapsulates the Wago for moisture resistance. I mean, oh, the gel displaces water. That's crazy. I wonder if it's conductive. It's probably conductive. I'm sure it's over-engineered. Yeah, over-engineered, yeah. Yeah, time will tell on that. Be like the, if you did blah, 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 you may be entitled to compensation for blah, 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 you know, in between this date. And it'd be like, oh, yeah, my house. Gel box looks cool. I kind of want to look that up now. Let's see here. Gel box. What the heck? Really? You gotta be kidding me. Can you imagine? Can you imagine just not using the right thing? Like maybe it is cool. I don't know. Maybe it's completely waterproof. That's kind of wild. You literally just shove it in there like a treasure chest, man. That's crazy. So you get 4 pieces for $40. They're $10 each. You can get a 7-piece for $100. That's a deal. Man, that is interesting. IPX8 certified. That is very watertight. Kind of looks automotive. It kind of looks... That looks like forever, but... silicone free, well then no telling what it's made of. Man, that is interesting. From New Age America. Gel box assortment. That's crazy. Packaging may vary. Yeah. That's wild, man. We're just going in the wrong direction for this stuff. Just completely in the wrong direction, man. We need to go back to what we know works. Not this crap. That only goes to 12 too. Yeah. Yeah, UK electricians do use a ton, but you know what else? UK electricians use a lot of cord and a lot of cable. And we use a lot of questionable stuff with paper surrounded by it. So it's a little bit different when you've got, you know, multiple strands of surface area versus just one exterior kind of surface area, because you got the skin effect of the outside of the solid wire that's carrying the amperage. The inside doesn't really carry that much. That's why stranded carries more. So I would say we're probably more subject to oxidation. Yeah, a lot of stranded wire, a lot of cord, less oxidation. There's a lot of good things going on for that stuff. We just have a nylon jacket around our crap, and we say it's 300 to 600 volt rated and call it a day. But yeah, man, that's the whole point of electrical, you know. When it fails, it needs to still be safe. Your brain is oxidative? Yeah, I would imagine. Everything's getting oxidized at some point, but you're definitely more exposed with the way we wire stuff, especially in houses. So anyway, that's all I got, man. Big shout out to Josh, dude. Huge supporter of the channel. Always sending me stuff. I never even know what he's going to send me, but he's always sending me stuff. He, who the heck is it? I was low-key not wanting to buy these. I was kind of hoping that he was going to send them to me, the way that he was dropping hints about it. But I figured I'd buy it for him. I wasn't really excited to get them because I didn't think they were going to be good. It's hard to beat something that's pretty much perfect. We were pretty much right, though. These things are not great. I don't really recommend them, just based on where the grip falls. So if we close these both up, we get them the same height. And we go to grab here, you can see where the height is right here. Yeah, man, send that jigsaw, dude. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I will Venmo you or whatever we gotta do. Let me know. Make America Europe replace all 120-volt appliances with 240. Yeah. That kind of reminds me of what I wish I could do whenever I see an electrician install a 120-volt receptacle on a 240-volt T-pole. It kind of makes me want to just pass it and then hide in the bushes and wait for the chaos, you know? Because all the time, dude, I see 120-volt receptacles on 240-volt, you know, breakers. And it's just funny, dude. The other day I plugged into one with the plug tester, and luckily it was this one. And this one's actually rated. It's rated at 135 volt, but I can tell you right now, if you plug this thing into 240, it doesn't explode because this idiot had a plug that had 240 on it. And right when I went to go plug it in, he was like, "Don't do that. That's 240." And I was like, "What do you mean it's 240?" So I plug it in, and sure enough, you know, things like freaking out. And I was like, huh. So he's like, "Yeah, we couldn't find a 240-volt receptacle, so we put this in." And I'm like, "Dude, get the one that looks like it's squinting at you. That's the one you need, you know?" And I showed him on my phone which one to get. But man, people are crazy, dude. What's my favorite impact drill? Man, that is a hard call right now. It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. The Flex, still very powerful. With this 2.0, it's possibly the Flex now. Because I like the quick eject. I like that I don't have to put the tool against my chest to, you know, pop a bit out or whatever you're trying to do. Like you can grab stuff like this and you can get it out with the other tools. But there's certain situations where you're just holding something, or you got your SDS or whatever you got. So you finish drilling a hole or whatever you're doing, and you're holding this here, and you're needing to get this out like this, you know, and you can just push this button and just easily access whatever you need to do. And then, I don't know, I really like the quick eject. I've liked the quick eject since DeWalt came out with it first. And now we got the 2.0, so that's pretty cool. Plus you got the best one-hand recip on the market. And you argumentally have the best, fastest for sure, for concrete hammer drill. With a lot of power, definitely the fastest with the turbo mode. But this DeWalt here is equally impressive. Very similar in weight now with the Flex though. Not that much behind. And the size is also very similar, where the DeWalt's actually longer than the Flex now. So the day of Flex being the bulkiest tool for the performance is slowly not becoming a thing. Now it's still fairly bulky, it's still heavy, don't get me wrong. But DeWalt's come out with 3 or 4 impacts in the time Flex has come out with 1. And I think Milwaukee's come out with 2. So we'll see what Flex comes out with next if they choose to. The DeWalt's really nice though, man. The power stack, the 1.7, still the lightest, still a great battery. Really enjoyable. It's a toss-up between these two. Which one do I think is going to last longer? I think the Flex is going to last longer. I think the Flex is built better. It's definitely built for more abuse. And I've taken apart this piece myself and seen all the robust, you know, thick metal pieces that go into actuating this. This thing isn't breaking anytime soon. This quick eject chuck feature is something that will probably outlast the motor the way they've got this thing built. It's like an internal lever back here with like thick spring steel, I guess you would call it, that's bent in a certain way and has holes in it with a pin in the middle, and it's like free floating, but it's in a way where it doesn't have a spring to kind of fail. It's very robust the way that they've got this thing figured out. So I don't know which one I like more. I really like the Flex though. I like that it doesn't impact before you drive it. They kind of messed up the speeds for this DeWalt just a little bit with speed 2 being for connect tool mode, which is for like the pipe cutters and just the different attachments that you can put on the face of this. You put the base down here and the attachment goes in here, and you can do all the different cutters and reamers and things like that. That's what speed 2 is for. And it's contoured there for less torque to not break those tools, which is a nice feature. But on a daily impact, if you want to be able to use this for like just about anything you want to do, it would have been nice to have speed 2. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I feel like Flex is built better. If you wanted to buy once and cry once and abuse the crap out of something, it would probably be the Flex. Does size really matter? Depends on how you use it. Yeah, exactly. I would say for construction, man, anyway, no matter what you get, if it's an 18, a 20, whatever it is, as a professional, you're going to have a smaller driver no matter what, right? You're going to have a 12 volt. They're just too damn light. They are argumentally too light. They weigh what a battery weighs. So you pull this out when you're building racks, when you're building larger pipe, you're doing bigger straps, things like that. You're driving a whole bunch of screws, and then you've got your daily for whatever you're doing for smaller stuff for 12 volt. And if you're just doing larger framing and stuff, then you just have this, you're building decks. You've got the speed to drive a 6-inch screw without even impacting. We don't drive 6-inch screws regularly. We don't drive lags that large regularly as much as you do like a 2-inch, a 2.5-inch deck, 1 5/8 deck. Most of your stuff is nails anyway, because you've got what's it called? Where you can bend the nail without it breaking. Shear strength. You got shear strength of a nail versus a screw. A screw will just snap. Nails will kind of move with the framing. Most of your stuff's done with nails anyway. So unrealistically, man, this is why I don't like to do it. Why you don't see me drive too many screws, even though you get a lot of views doing it, is that you don't really drive this many screws in the real world. The Flex for fabrication, man, I would recommend the Flex for anybody, dude. The Jigsaw is bonkers. The Jigsaw is like stupid strong, man. If you want a tool brand that's just going to work exceptional with anything that you put on it, no matter what tool they make, it's the Flex. Like the Jigsaw and stuff, the barrel grip and stuff is just stupid strong. All their stuff is just over-engineered, overbuilt. If they ever go under, man, I'll be sad. Because they could perfect their stuff with a couple more generations. We're still only on Gen 1 with most of their tools, where Milwaukee and DeWalt has had multiple attempts to get this thing right, and they're doing very well. But Flex just came out of the gate swinging, man, with everything that they've made. They've got a really good engineer team. That 24 battery is stupid heavy. The 2.0 is not heavy anymore. This is what they needed. They needed this battery. Now that they have this battery, If we look at the 3.0 Milwaukee, which is, I mean, let's be honest, nobody's rocking the Forge battery for smaller stuff. It's just, it's bulky. It sits on your impact. I'll go get it. It's not a good thing. So we got the Forge. And we got this right here. So this is going to drive large screws all day. There's no doubt about that, right? If we put the weight on, let's check it on the scale. We got 6, that's fluid ounces, hang on. Okay, pounds and ounces, okay. Let's turn it off, turn it back on. It is zeroed out. 4 pounds, 2.6 ounces, 2.5, 2.4, 2.3, 4 pounds, 2.3 ounces, okay? With this. If we take the high output, which is my favorite battery for Milwaukee, even on the recips, you got 3 pounds, 7 ounces here. If we take the very large DeWalt, we're at 3 pounds, 0.4. And if we take the Flex, damn, losing all my tools. Take the Flex. You can see that we're actually lighter than the Milwaukee at 3 pounds 9. So this Flex is actually lighter than the Milwaukee with the 3.0. 3 pounds 6.9. 3 pounds 13. Hang on. Sure, that's the 4 pounds. 3 pounds 8 ounces. Sorry. Good thing I checked. 3 pounds 13. So very similar. Not quite. Flex is still heavy. I mentioned that in the video. Now that I'm remembering, the Flex is still heavy, but you're getting down to where you're really not looking at that much difference when it comes to it. For how small the Milwaukee is, man, it gives a lot of power. But Milwaukee's just not giving us a small battery. So by the time you rock this 6.0, man, it gets really ridiculous pretty quick. But you can see where the 3.0 is, let's see here. 3.0 is 1 pound, 4.7 there. And the 2.0 is, let me check this again. Something's touching it. £1 pound, 1 ounce. Yeah, exactly. That's what we got last time. And then the Milwaukee is 1 pound, 4.8 ounces. It's time for Milwaukee to give us a lighter battery. And if they do, man, they need to come out with a better recip. And then I'd probably say Milwaukee's on top. But right now, with all the features of the Flex recip, with how fast it is, with the quick chuck on this thing, you pop it out and then it's ready for a blade whenever. Don't make me a liar. It's going to make me a liar, isn't it? Oh, it's just got some debris in there. Okay, there we go. Yeah. and pop it out again. Yeah, there we go. This has some sawdust in there. Also, the blade's pretty curved. You can see where the flex, man, is just the saw is too good. The sander's too good. The vacuum's too good. All the stuff is too good. Black and yellow all day. I think so, man. The black and yellow's got it going on, especially with that 382B recip saw that's like that long. The DS382B from DeWalt. Milwaukee had fallen behind last year or two. I got too many batteries to get them up, but they need to catch up. Man, they need something. The Gen 4 is pretty damn small. I was pretty surprised when I got it. I wasn't even considering it. Joshua Wilson bought it for me. And it's not a bad impact. It's really not. As far as Torque Test Channel talking about he's breaking more of these, he's also comparing it to more things. And then you're using a tool in a way that a tool shouldn't be used. When we're driving into wood, the screw is continuously driving and everything is moving. When he's sitting there on that bolt and he's just torquing it while it's still, the internals of this thing are just getting rattled to hell. These things aren't designed to hit a fastener that's not moving. It's not an impact wrench, it's an impact driver. These are for smaller fasteners. So it's kind of funny that he put that out there. It seems like it was just to get some attention. I don't think that these are supposed to be tested in the manner that he's testing them and then presenting the data that he's presenting, because obviously these things aren't going to last. So you got a tool that you're comparing to everything else because this is the one to beat. So of course you're going to go through more of them. The metal was too hard in the impact. That's not a bad thing unless you're running on thicker railroad spikes. Dude is now my friend. Dude at Depot gave me a box of Milwaukee gloves for a penny. That's cool. I don't care if the metal's hard to do. That's probably a good thing, man. It'll probably last forever. Who cares if the metal's harder? That's probably not a bad thing. If you're driving in wood, it's probably going to last a hell of a lot longer than any other impact. They probably have it figured out. When I saw everything that he said on that video, I was like, yeah, but also you're running into a nut that's not moving. So that's like saying my car is slow because it only goes 180 miles an hour and my friend's goes 185. You see what I'm saying? Like, how much do you really need? If you're able to drive the screw into the wood and it's harder metal and it's going to last, then it's probably fine, dude. I would leave it the hell alone. I wouldn't be trying to modify anything. I would say that that's a win. The guy's running onto a nut that's not moving for 10 seconds. I would hope you're going to do some damage. When you're driving and you pull up next to a curb and you turn your steering wheel and your wheels are too close to the curb and your steering wheel successfully moves, what happens, guys? You done messed up your alignment is what happened. Because when a immovable object meets an unstoppable force, right? You're running two things into each other that aren't designed to run into each other, okay? You have to expect failures. I used to have two cool Milwaukee rep gave me an 8 battery, 2 packs, 3 O's, shirts, fastbacks, axe blades. I think he got fired. Nitrous carbide OMT blades. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. I don't have anything bad to say about Milwaukee. I've rocked with Milwaukee for too long to say anything bad about it. The 5.0s are just about bulletproof. Any weather, whatever it is, sure, you might go through a couple of them. It's a solid line. You could recommend it to anybody and they'd be happy to have it. It's hard to beat Milwaukee for what it is. There's definitely better out there. There's newer technology that I like to play with. There's more bells and whistles on the competitors. But it's a very safe, very reliable tool that I don't think has the failures that Torque Test Channel says it does. Any tools that still use 240? There's core drills, bigger ones, yeah, bigger saws, industrial stuff. A bat and a ball are $1.10, and the bat is one more than the ball. How much is the ball? A bat and ball are $1.10, and the bat is $1 more than the ball. How much is the ball? It'd be free, wouldn't it? Because the bat and the ball are $1.10. I didn't see the new Flex polisher. That looks pretty cool. That sounds pretty expensive too, though. But you know what? Flex is known for their polishers, so that's going to be cool. Two 40-volt pressure washers a K, man. They're coming pretty far with those too for 120. Just for your house. It runs in your jeans. Yeah. What's up, Omar? Could you plug them into a 120-volt receptacle hooked up with 240? You could. You'd have to change the whole cord, and it wouldn't fit. So you'd run into a geometry problem pretty quick. It'd be kind of a square peg round hole kind of thing. But the voltage, I mean, nothing really knows what the voltage is. Your receptacles don't know what the voltage is. Best impact tool brand. It's a hard one, man. I want to say Milwaukee because it's so solid, but there's a lot of new things out there that aren't holding back. Milwaukee's holding back lately. So I would say if you want some really solid tools that are over-engineered, that are going to last a long time, that have a lifetime warranty, I would say Flex. But the safest bet right now is probably DeWalt. DeWalt's killing it right now. $1.10. The ball's $1.10. All right. Appreciate it. Sam's Club 158 pressure washer. Interesting. Yeah. All right, guys. That's all I got. We've been on here for a minute. Or, you know, more than that. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. Probably won't be going live. Wife's working. Got the girls here. I don't know what I'm doing. I got some videos in the hop. Got a multimeter video. Just came out with the Flex 2.0. I just got an infrared tool. I've got the new Knipex channel locks to talk about. We got a lot of content in the hop. Appreciate it. See you guys later. We'll see you.